Evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Evening, Nikki.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you.
Lovely to see you. Yeah, thank you. Joe's told us so much about you. So we've really been looking forward to this evening. Um,
Thank you.
so I'm going to introduce you just with the wording that I put out about this evening, because I think that's really interesting and it does tell us a lot about what you do. So, Nici Phoenix, the world's only Prism Facilitator. For this evening, what Nikki will be doing, I will meditate in the morning, tune into the group energies, and then we'll create a mandala for the group and we'll talk about the crystals that are there and how they will support whatever challenges or focus came through in my meditation, and then take questions. This is not just another talk about crystals for manifestation. Who is Nici Phoenix? So, over many years, I've acquired sacred teachings from studying with global masters and across various modalities, creating a unique, bespoke healing toolkit as the world's only prism facilitator. This is so interesting because I don't know what this is at all. Working primarily with the crystalline realms. My work with the crystalline realm is sacred and intuitive, and so each client I work with receives a unique reading, healing, and information. In order to create a bespoke mandala, I combine all the knowledge and my knowledge, and through meditation, connecting with Siddha Kundalini crystal masters, All-Star Quest masters, Lord Tosti and Lady Kuan Yin. Together with the activation of the energy of crystals, I work with the client to help them transform. You know, when I read that earlier, it seemed quite easy to read.
I know. It's a bit of a mouthful. Next time I will send a more abridged one, but thank you very much.
Thank you, though, Nikki. Really looking forward to this evening.
So thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Joe, for the introduction. I really appreciate that. So what I'm going to do this evening is we're going to open up in a sacred way. And then we're going to do a very short breath just so that we can settle into our skins and let go of the day that's been. And then I'm going to take you through the mandala itself that I've created for this evening. And I'll explain to you how I create these and then leave enough time for questions. I don't know about anybody else. I don't have a hard stop at 8. So I'm happy to run over a little bit. And before I do start, I'm just going to show you that what you are going to see um, in a PowerPoint presentation, you will actually see it um, in person. But just so that you can see, I have actually built this mandala.
Oh, wow.
Um, but you will see it now in a moment once we have gone through the opening stretch. So if you can all sit very comfortably and just pulling yourselves upright, whether you're sitting on the floor or on a chair. If you are on a chair at a desk, I invite you just to move back a little bit from the desk so that your arms aren't resting on the desk. Yeah, that was aimed at you, Joe. I know where you're sitting. And if you can just bring your hands in front of yourselves like this, and this is what we call the Kundalini Global Stretch. And as you pull your hands apart, and really just start to feel the vibration between your arms and just start to very gently lifting your arms up towards the ceiling and just breathing normally, feeling that vibration between your hands, just feeling that energy. And as your hands start to go up and your palms start to turn over and your chest is starting to rise and fall back and your neck is falling back and your hands are now up towards the ceiling, I invite you to take a really big inhale here and then twisting to the left, including your head, and now exhaling and coming back into center and taking another big inhalation here and turning to the right, including your head, and exhaling at this point. And then coming back into center and bringing your hands down either into prayer pose or if you feel more comfortable, left hand on your heart with your right hand over, whichever you prefer. And now with your eyes closed, I invite you just for a moment to think about an intention. And the intention that came through for the group this morning was, what would we like as an intention between now and the 8th of the 8th, which, as you probably all know, and probably know a lot more than I do, is the Lion's Gate, the portal. The moment at which the sun enters the star Sirius and generates that very high frequency. It's that time in between equinox and solstice, and it's just that very beautiful opportunity for setting magnificent sun energy intentions. So for a moment you just think about your own intention that you're setting from today until Sunday the 8th. And I invite you just to take a bow. You can either bow down as far as you want, or just your heads, and just bowing down to the divine within you, whatever it is, whatever that spark is that you believe in. And inhaling up, and then just bowing down to the divine outside of you, that creative spark, whatever it is you may or may not believe in. And then on your last inhalation, coming up and exhaling down to that very intention that you are now setting. And still with your eyes closed, you might feel comfortable putting your hands on your lap. I would suggest that you put your right into your left. And I'm now just going to take you through a very gentle breath. And this breath is called the Sitali breath. And really what it is and what it does for us is it brings us to a place of stillness and a place of oneness. And it's the breath that takes us straight into the soothing of the heart. So with your mouth open, just rolling your tongue. And for those of you who can't roll their tongue, that's okay. Just open up your mouth gently so that the breath can come in through the mouth. And then just imagining as though you're pulling in this beautiful crystalline thread through the mouth and just into all of your energetic centers. Breathing in for as long as you can, and then for a moment just holding at the top, and then closing your mouth and breathing out through your nose, and just letting that very warm air now just move towards your hands. And eyes are closed. You might want to roll them up to the brow point. And breathing through that rolled tongue. And out through the nose. This beautiful crystalline energy that you're breathing in today. Very fine, very slow thread. It may be coming in from the realms beneath Mama Pacha, Pachamama, might be coming from the crystalline realms that we cannot see. And as you continue to breathe, we invite all of your guides, all of your angels. We invite the animal kingdom in whichever form and spirit it wishes to appear for you. I invite the plant kingdom. I invite Lady Kuan Yin, who is my master in this work, and Lord Chwansky of the All-Star Quest. I invite Siddha Guru Baba Nyatanyanda, with whom I work in creating the mandalas. And we activate and we open this mandala today for our higher purpose. And just continuing with that beautiful breath. You're probably finding now that your shoulders have relaxed. You may even be feeling as though your body is swaying. And those are merely the nadis, the energetic centers within the spine that dance up from our Earth Star chakra all the way up to the dimension in which you may be playing right now. And what we've done now is we've just released dopamine into the system. And we've moved from a negative mind or an over positive mind into our neutral mind. And taking one last inhalation and just holding that up at the top and then releasing. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Right, so welcome, welcome, welcome. So in front of me, this is what you are seeing. You're seeing this very beautiful crystalline mandala. And in meditation this morning, and this is the way I work, is I tune into the group's frequencies, or if I'm working on a one-to-one, and I tune into the frequencies of the group, and I ask the universe to give me the intention of the group. And then really what it is that the group would like to feel, because for us it's always more important about what we want to feel with our intention. So it's all very well saying, my intention is to have a lot of money, but actually what you really want is you might want to be feeling a sense of security, a sense of freedom, a sense of ability, etc. So all of that then is created, and I do a meditation for a while, and then in a meditative state I get shown what layout to use, and sometimes I'm surprised at the layout and sometimes I'm not, and then I lay the crystals down. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk to you through this mandala. I'm going to talk to you first about this section here, which plays directly into the lion's portal, the lion's gate, and then I'm going to talk to you about this section here, which is the crystal that is serving you in the gift position and the lesson position. And then we'll talk about this particular middle part, which when you look down at it is actually looks like a pyramid. The crystals I don't speak about are the ancillary crystals. They're support crystals, and they're there just holding and guiding us. And if at the end you want to know what something was, I'm more than happy to talk about it. So that's the bird's eye view. And if you could imagine that the centerpiece here was a pyramid, and that would be the apex. So what you will get after this, and I will send this presentation to Jackie, and in the presentation will be a meditation that goes with fire agate and goddess Sekhmet. And I didn't want to take up 16 minutes of today during the meditation, which is why we just did the breath. So again, I don't make this up, but I do smile when the crystals appear, because they appear in the most extraordinary way, and they say, well, if you were doubting your own process, Nici, then let me show you why not to doubt it. So in this instance, the fire element crystal came up first. And fire and the crystal, and I will pull them up to show you from close-up, but this is a tetrahedron, and the tetrahedron shape is the fire shape. And when we are out of our, when we are discombobulated almost, I think that's the right word to use, when we are not in our centered form, and we choose the tetrahedron, we either are overheating, which often brings us to a place of anger, it might bring us to a place of rage, it might bring us to a place of overheating. And that misalignment often creates arguments, it often creates heated debates that could be with yourself, could be with your family, could be with friends, could be with strangers. And often we walk away from them and we say, well, what was that all about? And when we work with a crystal such as the tetrahedron, it brings us the opportunity of just coming back into alignment and bringing ourselves into the right amount of heat. Um, it's it's a it when we are polarized inside of the fire element is when we have all of this joy and when we have all of this creativity and we activate the orange flame of our intuition, which sits in our solar plexus. And so coupled with that, the crystal that came out, kind of no surprises, was fire agate. And this very beautiful meditation, which is called Passion of the Lion Heart, and is led by the goddess Sekhmet and the beautiful Alana Fairchild's recording of it. So fire agate is a very powerful crystal, and it's even more powerful at this time because we moved into Leo between Saturday and Sunday, and so coupled with the Leo energy, coupled with the full moon in Aquarius, and now moving towards our Lionsgate portal, we just really have this brilliant and amazing opportunity to activate our vitality, our sexuality, our creativity. And when I'm finished talking, you will see the golden thread, excuse the pun, between all of the crystal energies and elements, and you will see how fire manifests itself a couple of times in this whole mandala. And it works very deeply with our root, sexual, creative, and solar plexus. And it aligns our etheric bodies with the physical, the emotional, and the mental body. And at the same time, it helps us stay grounded. And that's why fire agate is such a powerful crystal. Because without it, we could be dancing around and being all over the place in this very fiery, very passionate way. But we also need to be grounded here on Mother Earth. It also opens the most incredible channels for creativity. So this would be a perfect time between now and, say, the 8th of August, where you might want to do a piece of creative writing, you might want to write some poetry, you might want to create some rituals, whatever it is that is something that you are drawn to, but really unleashing that creativity. It gives us the zest for living, and it's one of the reasons that I absolutely love working with fire agate, because it gives us that enormous amount of passion. From a physical perspective, it helps on all the meridian points, and it is a stone of eternal youth. Why do you think I look so young, even though I'm 158? It's crystalline energy. And a very beautiful affirmation: I embrace my body and the physical world, taking pleasure and joy in all of my life. So I was just going to say that in the recording, I use different affirmations. When you get this presentation, you'll get a little spreadsheet inside of it that has got another set of affirmations. So I always encourage people to play with the affirmations. So we've created this portal. This portal is open until the 8th of the 8th. Play with the affirmations. You may decide today you want to do 2 fire agate ones. Tomorrow you might want to do something different. But really tap into the energy, because it's your energies that fed this mandala today. So now we're going to move on. This here is what you will get as well, which is the writing from this fire goddess and goddess Sekhmet. And I am a bold, lion-hearted lover of life, fierce with passionate purpose, is how she ends this. And if you click on this track when you get the presentation, you will be able to click onto the 16-minute meditation. So now we move on to the right side of this beautiful mandala. And interestingly enough, this crystal here, and I'm going to talk about it in a few moments, has been appearing quite frequently in one-to-one sessions. And I find that quite interesting, because sometimes crystals don't appear for years and years and years, and then suddenly up they jump, and I go, okay, what's the message here? So I'll tell you about the message in a moment. I just wanted to point out a very beautiful crystal that you can see in that center. and it's made of barite, and barite is all about revelation. And as you can see, these are in the shape of a wing. And when I was doing my Kundalini Global training course over the last 6 months, my wings were unclipped by my teacher. And the next day, the people I buy my crystals from, I went to visit them, and that was just sitting there going, hey, pick me. So the overall, whenever I build a mandala, there is always two crystals, one which is the overall gift and the one which is the overall lesson. And when something appears in the gift position, it's usually because you're all tuning in, or the single reading that I might be doing, you're all tuning in to the gift of that energy of the crystal. And I did smile. I really did smile, because it's citrine. And citrine is the all dancing, all singing, all beautiful manifestation crystal. And when I wrote up my write-up for Jackie, and I said, we're not just going to talk about crystals and citrine because they're the manifestation crystals. We're going to talk about some that are perhaps lesser known. And of course, citrine came in to teach me a lesson, because it reminds me that it's never just citrine. And citrine in our world, and I take it, I've taken the liberty of, through the tuning in this morning, of an assumption that everybody is here because you are fairly intuitive and you're tuning into your own divine and your own divinity. And so manifestation is not just about the things, the material things that we want, but it is also specifically around the feelings that we're looking to engender. It's personal will, it's mental clarity, it's creativity. So already you can see the first link from the fire agate through to the citrine. And my citrine crystal in this particular mandala, one of them that stepped forward, is my skull. And his name is Helios, which is Greek for sun. And again, the powers that are playing at the moment in this Leo energy, take advantage of it, because even if the sun doesn't shine, it is shining behind those clouds. And so rather than letting the clouds hang over you, the next sort of 12 days, what I work it out to be 12 days from today, are really incredible, powerful. And the gift to you is use it, because this has come because of your energies. Citrine talks about our experience on Earth, that is trying to transform our dreams and don't smile, Joe, at this one, and transform our contracts from the moment we sign them into the contract that we're trying to enable in this particular world, in this physical sense. And that's why we're here in the physical being. So citrine has stepped forward today specifically really to help you bring yourself to being that great manifester, because we all have the ability to be great manifestors. A friend of mine said to me the other day, she actually used the word, we were talking about how negative and positive words can affect health. And she said to me, it's not a mistake that the very first sentence in the Bible is, in the beginning was the Word. And I had never thought of that. I'd never ever contextualized it in that way, but it is, because if you use positive words, if you speak out your affirmations, you have that ability to transcend from anything that is less pleasant to things that are pleasant. So the most beautiful, beautiful affirmation here is, I open myself to the inspiration of my creative imagination, and through the strength of my will, aligned with my divine will, I manifest my dreams. So we're taking citrine out of its, let me just put a piece of citrine in my wallet and I'll have a whole bunch of money, to this expansiveness around everything that the crystalline citrine world can bring us. And then paired with it in the lesson position is fulgurite. And fulgurite is actually not a crystal. I'm going to show it to you now. I never know whether people can see it properly, but You can always, when you get these images, you can always zoom in, and you're welcome to ask me to send more pictures if it's not very clear to you. But fulgurite is all about prayer. And in its ancient form, what did people do when they wanted to manifest? They prayed. And we've forgotten the art of praying because we're so busy doing all of our other stuff that we forget to just go, please. So fulgurite brings us this manifestation of higher purpose, enhancement of prayer, purification, additional awakening. And it's actually created by a glassy tube that is formed by lightning strikes on sand and other silicon-rich soils. So it's not a crystal, and yet it is part of our crystalline energetic world. So it really is to have coupled itself in the lesson position with the gift position of citrine is extraordinary, and I have never seen that. So this morning when I placed them down and I stepped back and I went, okay, that's unusual. Okay, I needed to sit with it for a few moments and really truly tune into it. And at this time where many people are feeling quite they may be feeling that things aren't going well for them. They may be feeling the turbulence of all of the diseases that are taking place and the losses that are taking place, etc. This is so powerful here to be able to say that this portal has been opened, this mandala has been opened for you in almost every form of manifestation and manifestation through prayer. So physically, fulgurite helps us in instances if we are feeling constricted in our physical form, and it helps strengthen our blood flow. So it really is an incredible crystal to work with. And a beautiful affirmation: I call upon the divine to join me in manifesting the prayers of my highest intentions, and I surrender my attachments to the outcome. And that's the secret of manifestation, is when you say, I already have it, and let it go. It's funny how you have it. And of course, my bird of peace had to come in as well. So now I'm going to move into this section of the mandala, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about this layout. And this is a very beautiful layout because when we ask a challenge question of the universe and work with this layout of 5 different crystals, it gives us the opportunity to feel into the energies of the collective crystals as well as each one individually. And the reason I send this to you afterwards is to allow you to do your own personal homework and see what has called you and what is calling you. Because in one person's instance here, you may see the connection between the emotional and the challenge crystal. Somebody else might actually just see the middle, the apex, and say, that's the one that's speaking to me in my intention for today. And other people might go, okay, I see all 5 energies. Sit with it. Take the days between now and the 8th of the 8th and make this crystal playground, because crystals are light energy. And everything that is crystalline is light. Even when we work with the lower triangle, and even when we work with the stormy crystals, they're all about light energy. And that's really important to remember, because crystalline energy doesn't really like to play with darker energies. It leaves that to shadow workers to help you with, etc. So yes, we can do some shadow work with crystals, but traditionally speaking, you're working very much with the lighter crystalline energy. So in this pyramidal shape, and I'm going to go through each one individually, we start off with the emotional, we move into the physical, we go through into the challenge, into the spiritual, and then those four bring us into the self. So if you were thinking of an issue before you laid your intention this evening, or through my intuition and my energetic deepening in this morning in meditation, you'll start to perhaps see why some of these crystals have come forward. So it's the cornerstones of this crystal, of this pyramidal shape, and it's really beautiful. So in our first crystalline position, here we have Howlite, which is in the emotional position. And this is the one that we're being asked to resolve or explore. And I did smile when it appeared, because every situation in our life is a lesson created by our higher self, which is what we're here to learn in order to move on to our next lifetimes. And so emotions are really key for understanding why we are here on this earth. And the crystal that has appeared now is Howlite. And Howlite is it's all about reason. Now, very often when you buy turquoise, it's not turquoise, it's dyed Howlite, because Howlite is very porous and it takes in a lot of dye. And so it's often known as white turquoise. And it carries a lot of the properties of white turquoise. And so it's no surprise that the card that Nici Phoenix has created here is the flower of life. And so these two almost they go so beautifully together, that image with Howlite. Howlite is a wind element crystal, and as a wind element crystal, it is here to bring you messages. It's also the only wind crystal in this mandala, and wind crystals ask us to just sit still for a moment and listen to the messages of our guides and our goddesses, because very often we're so busy being busy that we don't actually pay them any attention. So the message from Howlite today has appeared to remind us that we need to look at our current situations and using our ability to reason. It brings us amazing visions and brings our dreams to us to inspire them, but at the same time, we also need to be rational. So what is the reason, or how can we reason for something, or reason with somebody, or how can we be reasonable? So there are all of those playing of words within that word of reason. It works very deeply with the third eye, very deeply with the third eye, and with the crown chakra. So if you imagine that it's working in that L shape between the third eye, bringing in your vision, stopping at the pineal gland, having a little chat there, and then coming up through the crown and really activating and giving you that opportunity to listen to these beautiful messages. And so I love the analogy of needing to prepare ourselves for things. So you can't just decide one morning that you want to fly, and you climb up to the top of a mountain or top of a roof and you go, hey, I'm going to fly, and jump off and expect to be flying. At some point you're going to land and you may not survive that flight. So what you do before you go flying is you say, right, I need a parachute, I need a paraglider, I need to jump out of an airplane, and I'm going to have all of these things prepared, and then I'm going to go flying. Or I'm just going to get into an airplane and go flying. So before you jump off that cliff, what is your parachute? And that's what Howlite brings us, and is bringing to us at this very moment, is to remind you, where are your emotions sitting and what do you need to reason around them? So use your reason at this time over the next 10, 12 days, as opposed to your heated emotions, because there's lots of fire, lots of energy going on at this time with Leonine energy. A very beautiful affirmation: my visions inspire me, and my reasons guide me. Just beautiful. So now we move into this section here, which is the creativity, the physical area. And this crystal here is wolfenite, which is all about creativity. So in this particular section of the mandala, number 2, it represents the physical aspect of the situation and what I tuned into the energies this morning. And it's come here to affect our physical action, our strength, our manifestation ability in some way. And you've got to remember that the body, the physical body, is the vehicle through which we create. And very often I shouldn't say we, but I know I'm very happy to be up there with the fairies and the angels and the gods and the goddesses and, playing up there, and then eventually it's time to come out and come back down to earth. But I'm here in this physical body for a reason, for many reasons. So are we all. And so, so in this particular physical position, it reminds us of that. And so it helps us take action towards our resolution and the integration of what we're meant to be doing. So again, I had a little chuckle because this very beautiful wolfenite crystal, now you're never going to see this because this is one of my tiniest crystals that I have in my collection, and I can only afford one. It is tiny, but when I hold it in my palm like that, its vibration is just ridiculous. It's just the most incredibly high vibration crystal. At the same time as being a high vibration crystal, it's rooted very much in our solar plexus and in our sacral area, and it is creativity. So the third little golden thread in this mandala that you're now picking up, we've gone from fire agate, which is all about this passion on Mother Earth, where we're going. Then we've got our citrine, and now we're going into creativity. So it's not a surprise to me that there's this amount of fire in the mandala because we are in Leo energy, because we're moving into this lion's portal. So physically, I love wolfenite because it helps us with our metabolism, it helps stimulate it, and it really helps us enjoy life. And at a time perhaps where everybody is feeling less enjoyment and more woe, just tap into this beautiful energy right now and start to, get together and do fire dances and create rituals and have some fun, because that's what we're here right now in the next 12 days to play with. It is also a very, very highly attuned crystal on the earth. So not only is it working with your creativity, but when wolfenite emerges, it brings us to a place on Mother Earth into this whole beautiful area of creativity. Physically, it helps us, I think I said this, it helps us with our metabolism. Emotionally, it helps us feel inspired and energized, and so almost pushing away that pessimism and bringing forth that beautiful creativity. A very beautiful affirmation: the fire of my creativity burns with great passion as I manifest my visions and my dreams. So now you've heard the word manifest, I think, 4 times. Yeah, and we've only been through 4 crystals. I don't make this up. They do, up there. It gets better. It always gets better. So now we move into what is called the challenge position. So when I tuned into the meditation, the first thing I did was tune into what is the challenge. What is the challenge that the group that's going to appear in front of me today? And I didn't know if it was just going to be Jackie and Joe, or whether they were. Oh, and I knew that. Sorry.
Adrian,
Thank you. I knew that Adrian was joining as well. Sorry, Adrian, forgive me. But I knew that I didn't know who else was going to tune in. So I needed to really sit with what is the challenge. And there were 2 things that came up. The one was people are feeling a bit drained of the same old story. that we have been through in the last 20 months. And people are just wanting to push that all aside and feel their purpose and feel really re-energized. And the most phenomenal crystal came up, and I love that we have a ruby in the group today. But ruby, and ruby is the life force. And if we were doing a yogic practice now paired with crystals, I would get you all to stand up and to stand in the tree pose, because it is the most phenomenal pose to activate your life force. So I'm quite happy if anybody wants me at some point, I can send Jackie a note on tree pose and how to do that and work with Ruby. But what we do is, what you're looking to do is to anchor your entire energetic center from the Earth Star, and then pull that energy all the way up through the crown and up to your etheric energy center. So it's almost like a line of red ruby. It's almost like this beautiful crystalline force. And it is. Ruby is all about the life force. It's one of the crystals, when people say to me, what should I own? I say, just get yourself a little piece of ruby, because it kind of brings in a lot of the other crystalline energies. It's about courage, it's about passion, strength, enthusiasm, protectiveness. It's an earth crystal. So even though it works with all of our energetic centers, it is very much earthed in Mother Earth. And it emanates the beautiful pure ray, red ray. So, we have golden ray with wolfenite and with fire agate. We have red ray with ruby. And it instills in us this absolute vibration of open-heartedness and willingness to activate our life force. And when we activate our own life force, we activate it then for others. And so there was almost this challenge that was given to me to say, the group has an obligation to feel lighter, to activate their life force, to look at what they're manifesting for the greater good, for the higher self, for all of those around you who may not be as in tune to what you can do at this time. And we are in the middle of the year, and, everything else aside, the middle of the year is the middle of the year. You're kind of going, okay, I've done 7 months now. What's the next 5 months going to hold? It inspires it inspires the protective aspects of ourself. So when we work with ruby, sometimes we can just hold the ruby to our chest and just ask it to bring that very beautiful protectiveness back into ourselves. And it helps us speak our truth even when we are feeling very vulnerable. Very beautifully, from a physical perspective, it's phenomenal for healing anything in the root and second chakra area. So any womb issues, any menopausal, menstruation, hormonal. Men also have hormones, believe it or not. Anything that may be happening at that time in the lower triangle. And it's fantastic for weight regulation, just as an aside. Emotionally, if we don't feel like being here on Mother Earth, Ruby just gives us that absolute inspiration of that life force again. So a very, very beautiful affirmation. I embrace my life with fierceness, passion, and the courage to accomplish all that I will do. So accomplish is another word for manifestation. And there is that beautiful word passion again. Yeah. We then move into this section here, which is the spiritual section, which is Cereusite. And Cereusite is another tiny little crystal. I love it when the small ones come out to play, because everybody thinks that they've got to have massive crystals to make an effort, to make a difference. So Cereusite is a storm element crystal, and it's one of the most high vibrational crystals that you can get. It's phenomenal. And it works with the alchemical transformation of the self, infusion of light, embracing evolutionary change. And it works with the root and the crown chakra. Please can you excuse me for one moment, because for some reason my battery is about to run dead, and that would be disastrous. That would be disastrous.
Would.
Now you can see me crawling under my tables. Plug it in.
Wonderful, you know that, Nici. It went.
Oh, I tell you, it's nuts. So in this position, which is the wind, although this is a storm crystal, it's in our wind area, which also is all about bringing the messages and focusing our thoughts on where we need to focus them. So Cereusite is all about illumination, and that's the message here. So you can see now how the power of this mandala is now really coming together, because you are illuminated souls, you are divine beings, and that's why you stepped into this session today. And it's a stone of inner alchemy. So it's one of the stones of the magicians. So create your own magic. I said to Jackie before we started, she held up a crystal of her own, and I said, that's the stone of love and magic. There are so many potential alchemy crystals, and this Cereusite is one of them. Physically, it actually helps us increase our brain activity and processing, and allows us to think with more clarity and with more concentration. And if anybody ever wanted to delve into crystals that help with brain functions, it's a really, really interesting one, of how you can put crystals under the pillow and how people start to come back with their memory losses. It facilitates a willingness to overcome density. So coming back to what I said earlier on about perhaps you feeling a bit of a cloud over you, or over your friends, or over your family, Cereusite helps you with that amazing, just bringing out level of illumination. And being a root and a crown chakra crystal, you can now see perfectly with rose quartz. With ruby, because you've got now a white light of crystal that goes from your root all the way up to your crown, alongside the ruby light of crystal that is pulling between the two. Beautiful affirmation. I offer myself willingly to the crucible of transformation, so that my human self can be purified and reborn in its divine pattern. And then the final crystal ally, which has appeared here in the center, that's the self. And in the self position, it's both creation and destruction, because it is that center. And very beautifully, hematite appeared here. Now, hematite, you probably know it as the crystal that is brilliant for attracting electromagnetic frequency, which then takes it away from you. So if you put hematite next to your computers, next to any electronics, next to your routers, etc., that's really good. But it does so much more than that, and most people don't realize it, because hematite is all about manifesting light. So if I sat down and consciously said, I want to create a mandala for this group, and went through the cards, this is what I would have chosen. But I don't do that. The energetic crystalline realm does that. And that's why this work is so sacred. Because if I had to do it in an hour's time, your energies will have shifted. We'll have different crystals. Because these were the energies that came through this morning. And hematite teaches us the resolution of polarities, the balances of the opposites, and the manifestation of light here on earth, which it is why it is an earth crystal. So it pairs perfectly with all of the crystalline energies that have appeared today. And it helps us integrate the shadow self. So any darkness that you're feeling between now and the 8th of the 8th, it's your opportunity to just shake that off through all of the energies here. And it's a fantastic crystal for helping you with any kind of blood purification as well, and a really good strengthener for the liver. So it's affirmation, one of the affirmations that I absolutely love. Through my body, I ground the energies of light realms in this world. So when we look at...
Nici, sorry, could I just interrupt? Yes. Do you know what's causing the noise that's coming through with your... There's a... It sounds like something's running in the background. Or...
Do you know, I had this problem the other day as well, and it didn't matter what I did.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I just wondered if something was running that was...
Give me half a second. I'm just looking to see what it could be. It's not that. Is it still there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's louder now, actually. Oh, that went quiet.
So I have closed everything. What I will do is let me stop sharing. I've stopped sharing, haven't I?
You have at the moment, yeah.
Okay, there is nothing open now. Sorry.
I mean, it's not unbearable in any way. I just wondered if it was something that could be stopped, but no worries, we'll carry on. Sorry, Nici.
No problem. No problem. I've gotten to the end, actually. Yeah, I can hear it now more than I could before. But I've closed everything. I've got nothing open. Sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't hear it before.
Okay, so just to close that out, and then I'll take questions. So just now being able to feel into the energies of that entire mandala and being able to see almost the one single message around what it is that you can manifest for yourself and then for the higher good between now and the 8th of the 8th, but really pulling into that beautiful fire energy, but also illuminatory energy. And there we go. Sorry, I spoke for a little longer than I'd intended.
Oh no, it was wonderful, absolutely so interesting. But can you talk a little bit about the skull that was there in the center? Because that was stunning. I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
The big one?
The little black one.
Shiny. Oh, this one here. So that's hematite.
Oh.
In order to make the skull, they mix it with silicone. But yeah, no, he's quite a formidable force. And he is all about light. He's all about light.
That's much bigger than I thought it was when I saw it on the picture.
Yeah, they can be quite big, actually. They are. This particular one was one that I resisted and hadn't worked with for a while, and then it came out to. It came out about 3 months ago. It suddenly gave me its name. And said that it wanted to be more present, and its name is the Lighter Man.
Beautiful.
Go figure.
Yes, yeah. Patricia's asking, would you mind running through the names of all the crystals that you had there again? If you could hold them up and just say which crystal. Is that okay? Yeah.
So that's Fire Agate.
Beautiful.
And that was citrine. I showed you the skull. I'm now showing you a citrine. The fulgurite, which is the lightning bolt that hits the sand. And then we had the howlite. And then we had the teeny weeny incy little wolfenite.
And that's really expensive. Is that the one that you said was really expensive? Yeah.
Yeah, the smaller, the more expensive they are. And then that's ruby. And you can actually see this is a star ruby. You can see the star in the middle. I've got another one like that where you can see the star in the middle.
Wow.
And then cerussite, which comes in the light and the dark, which I love because being for illumination, it works with the light and the dark. And then hematite, which was the skull, or you're probably more familiar with it in chunks like that. Not to be confused with shungite, they're two different crystals.
Thank you for that.
Pleasure.
How does that work for you? Do you sleep near that room? Like, how does it work for you to have all of those crystals so near you all the time?
So I used to, this is my healing room now. I used to have all of these crystals in my bedroom because a friend of mine used to live here. I just energetically close them off if they're not meant to be serving me a particular purpose at the time.
Right.
Yeah, but my house is filled with them.
Yes.
They all have a purpose of some sort.
Someone's just said, can you talk about selenite? Does it neutralize other crystals?
It doesn't neutralize them, it clears them. Nothing neutralize. You cannot neutralize a crystal, like you cannot charge a crystal. A crystal is always charged, and a crystal doesn't get neutralized. What it does is it gets cleared of negative energies. So selenite is all singing, all dancing crystal for that. So selenite, that's selenite. So if you put a crystal on top of it like that, then it'll do the clearing. But you've got to set an intention. You can't just go, hey, just do that and then put it down. You have to ask the selenite to do the work, which leads me to Joe's question of me earlier on. Please don't forget to talk about cleansing and clearing. So crystals don't like to be wet, and they particularly don't like to be immersed. Some more than others. So selenite, you should never get wet. It'll just crumble. But it won't crumble immediately, but twice or three times it will. So I think that if your crystals have been anywhere near darker energy, so if you travel with them, if you're on trains, buses, tubes, planes, etc., then you should use sage. If you just want to do a quick roundup, then walk around with sticks of incense, whether it's Palo Santo or copal or whatever smell of incense that you like. But as you go to each crystal, you really should stand at the crystal, and I'll give you the intention in a minute, and actually activate the clearing. Sure, if they're dusty, then use a water spray bottle as opposed to sticking them in water. And then sun energy, but don't leave them in the sun for too long, otherwise you'll phone me and tell me it's my fault that they're faded. So what you need to do when you're clearing a crystal is you actually ask whatever thing you're using. So let's say you're using the selenite. You actually ask the selenite or the smoke from the sage to please clear the negative or darker energies that may have entered the crystal. And that's what you are doing. Now, if you just go, hey, please clear the crystal, please clear the negative energy, and you walk away, you're not giving your crystalline energy any respect. So just like you would cleanse your own body, you're cleansing the crystals. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's quite a ritual, and it's a lovely ritual to do. So you might say every Sunday morning I'm going to clear, if I've got a lot of crystals, I will clear my crystals. I clear my crystals the moment I've done any work with them for other people. If I dismantle one of my altars, then I will deep clear my crystals.
Well, with intention.
With intention. Mm-hmm. Equally, when you're working with a crystal, set the intention.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I get frustrated when people say put a piece of citrine in your purse and you'll have lots of money. Well, does the crystal know that you wanted lots of money in your purse?
Wow.
You've got to ask it. And then the crystals like to work on feelings, not on stuff, because they're energy.
And that was also interesting when you've said they're always charged, because like I've had crystals given to me saying this is charged, as if it had to be charged before it was given to me.
So, programmed,
Ah,
yes. Charged, how can you stop? How can you take away the charge of something that is all energy? You can't. It's not ours as human beings to do that, but it's our intention to program it for something.
mm,
Now, there are many, many crystal people, book people. I've not written books and probably won't. People have got different philosophies. The teachings that I come from, and it's all intuitive. It's all through meditation. That's what I impart. I'm not going, and I'm not saying Judy Hall says this, but I wouldn't argue with a Judy Hall. She will have her version. Nicholas Pearson will have his version. Brian Parsons will have their version. Everybody will have their version. Naisha Asian has her version. My version is it's always on. It's not a plug. But what is always on in it is what you want to shift and change for your higher purpose.
perfect.
So somebody might give you a crystal and say, I've programmed it for your health so that you can get rid of your cough. When you stop coughing, then why can't you reprogram it for something else?
Oh, so interesting. So we've had a few questions come in. Can you recommend oh, I think that's all it says. Can you? And then, can you recommend any books on storm, wind, earth elements of crystals? Thank you.
So, Naisha Asian, Aishan, this set of cards and her book is the one that I've predominantly used for today. But I also tune in energetically into what crystals are. Nicholas Pearson, who I really, really like, and I've been fortunate enough to meet him. He also, I think one of his books has got some of the elements in it as well that pair with crystals.
Wonderful, thank you. Is a mokatite,
Work hard.
Mokaite,
Yeah.
mokatite, similar to fire agate,
No,
to a fire agate?
not really. So that's Murkite. Murkite, it's a
Mm.
jasper, whereas fire agate is an agate. So they have quite different properties. But Murkite will work in a similar way if you want it to. It's far more grounding than fire agate is because jaspers are more grounding than agates, but it has similar properties. I mean, if you wanted to activate it for passion, then just you could. I love working with Mukite. It's a fun crystal.
Wonderful. Is hematite better than shungite for around computers?
They do two different jobs, so I would do both, and shungite and hematite. So shungite brings the protection, hematite removes the EMF. So they work beautifully together. And in fact, if you wanted the holy grail around your computer and electronics, put in a piece of rose quartz as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, go figure. That's what my master told me.
Which card did you use? If I don't have the crystal, can I use the card?
Yes, yes, absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
great.
So the other um, the beautiful deck that I think you would all far more enjoy is the Crystal Mandala Oracle by Alana Fairchild.
Mm.
And that's this deck here. And she's got crystal goddesses, crystal angels, and crystal masters. And you can buy the three decks separately, or you can buy them in one And I love this deck.
Beautiful.
And it comes with the meditation you're going to get. It comes with that. You've got to get this. You've got to go into Spotify to find the spoken meditation.
So, shall we talk about the prism that you
So in meditation, about 4 years ago, I just asked Lord Schwansky, who is also known as Schwalpool, what I should call myself after I had done this course and I'd done a whole bunch of accessing up there in the realms of the crystalline realms. And he gifted me this term of a prism facilitator. And basically, it is about pulling in all of the crystal energy through a prism, and then one way either into the color of the rainbow or the opposite way into the color of white light. And that's what I do energetically when I work with people.
Oh, and that's basically what it means. I had a picture of like a prism. Well, I don't know what.
It is a prism. So it is literally a prism of light. And that way. I'm going to get somebody, I was saying this the other day on my workshop, I'm going to get another one of these, and I'm going to get somebody to make me two that hang from here, because when the two tips of the triangle meet, if you consider your higher triangle and your lower triangle, energetically in your body, that is a crystal tip. Wow. If you didn't know that.
No, I didn't. Because, do you remember, I think it was Michael Jackson would sit in some sort of prism, I think, for energy and strength and healing.
So, I mean, the whole philosophy around the pyramids is exactly that. It is exactly that. It's the healing of being in that pyramidical shape.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. I think we've got another question there. Or I'm not sure, it might be a comment. Let's see. I used to have incredibly strong connections with crystal, then it stopped completely, so not certain how to activate my connection again, please. Oh, that's Ruby.
Do you have any crystals, Ruby?
Yes, I do. In fact, I've got lots of crystals, and like I said, at one time I did have a very strong connection with crystal, and I was in a workshop, and I was describing my connection with the crystal so incredibly amazingly that a student from Portsmouth University was filming it for his project, and then he suddenly disappeared, according to the workshop leader. So it felt as though I've betrayed an outsider with my information, because after that workshop, for some reason, my connection with crystal just completely stopped. And I find it sometimes I even have a bit of headaches when I'm actually too near crystals. So even though I love crystals, I just don't know how to reconnect my beautiful connections with them again. My energy that I had before with them. It's almost like a loving, beautiful energy that I had with them. I always see lots of beautiful colours whenever I hold crystals in my mind's eyes, but now I just don't get that anymore. And it feels as though sometimes when I hold crystal, that it's actually trying to repel me, as if saying that, oh, you've betrayed us. Now we don't really want to have too much of a connection with you, because just in case we give you some more energetic information, you're going to actually share with an outsider who perhaps is not very spiritual and doesn't believe in the crystal beauty.
Do you want it back?
Oh yes, definitely. Gosh, I love that beautiful, absolutely amazing energy, and the beauty that I see in my mind's eye. It's just so incredible. It's some of the colours I don't recognise at all, in anywhere on the Earth plane. It seems as though I'm actually travelling to another planet and seeing new colours. Perhaps in my past life I was living in other planets, which I think I was, and I'm actually seeing all those beautiful colours again. And it really, really does fills my heart. It really, really does when I had that beautiful connection.
So I would then start with a karma clearing process to clear whatever karmic connection you had with that person.
Right.
And you could use a number of crystals for that. And then moving from there, I would go with one crystal at a time.
Right.
So it could be, and I don't say this lightly, but I keep getting the crystal that you would start with will be ruby. For the very reason is that it is the life force crystal and it works through the entire energetic system. But what you want to do is you want to do a clearing karma meditation with obsidian, with black tourmaline, with selenite, and probably rose quartz. And then once you've done that, and you may do that twice or three times, then you would come back and say, right, I'm going to pick one crystal, and then start to connect in with that crystal.
So what sort of meditation is it that I need to do? How do I download that meditation, or do I need to just use my intuition to actually guide myself through that meditative journey?
It would be quite difficult for me to answer that right now. There's too much going on.
Yes, indeed.
Does
Yes.
that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So
Yeah.
I won't know what's right for you right now because I could be picking up all
Other
of the
people.
energies here, and then of course all of the energies that are coming from everybody else.
Okay. Yeah. I
Thank
just
you, Nici.
make that connection myself. Thank you.
Pleasure.
So that's something, say if someone come to you for a reading, that's something you could help with, Nici.
Yes.
Yeah, lovely, thank you. Wow, great presentation, great info. Thank you so much, Nici and Jack. Got to go now, but catch you both later very soon. That's Adrian. Oh, that's wonderful. That's what I thought. Absolutely wonderful presentation, Nici. I really love this.
Pleasure.
Can we just finish with this question? What does it mean when they say we're going to the crystalline era now, like more crystalline people as people?
So there are loads of different energies that come and go, and some are more heightened than others at different times. The world needs light, and crystalline is all light energy. So more kids are being born as crystal children. More energies are moving towards that crystalline realm, beneath Mother Earth, above, throughout that whole circle. And there are realms that we don't even know about. And the ancient cities of old, some of them were purely built on crystalline energy. And it's about reactivating that energy. And you won't see it. My philosophy, we all come from a particular kingdom. So some people who have got a very, very strong affinity with animals may once upon a time have emanated from the animal kingdom. Astrologers, for example, might have emanated from a particular star system or a particular planet. I know that I come from the crystal realm, from the crystal kingdom. So that is my entire being is crystalline. So Naisha Asian is another one who would tell you the same thing, Nicholas Pearson. So there are, I've no doubt Judy Hall, there are people that are pure crystal, that come from that pure crystalline kingdom. And it's our job to bring the crystalline energy because it's light. It's all light. For Ruby, even when she's working with the very potent black obsidian, black tourmaline to cut and to clear the karma and really activating and doing certain things, those crystals, once they've done their job, they're still doing a light work, a light job. That makes sense?
Absolutely, yeah, lovely answer. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And we've got another question, just quickly. This will be the last one. I'm going to travel by plane soon. This is Suzanne. How do you transport the crystals? I want to take some with me into the pyramids to store the energy.
I'm laughing because every time I go through an X-ray machine, I get pulled out for one or two of my crystals. And my best story is Copenhagen Airport because I tend to travel with copper balls. Copper balls, if you don't know, if you are a person who falls a lot, I used to, copper, two little round copper balls are phenomenal for grounding you. And so at one point I was always falling over. I was too much up with the fairies, and I came through the X-ray machine in Copenhagen, coming back to London, and the security guy is this really big Danish man, and he said, no, you need to open up your bag, and he pulled this little packet out, and he said, what are these? And I said, they're crystal balls, they're copper balls. And he said, what do they do? I said, they're for grounding. And he said, can I try? And I said, sure. And he put them in his hands, one in each hand, and he dropped his arms like this, and he went, I really feel that. Do you know that 2 months later, no, not even 6 weeks later, I went through the same security, same guy, and he looked at me and he said, where are your crystals?
Wow.
It was hilarious.
Wonderful.
But sorry, I digressed, Suzanne. Bubble wrap. So just wrap them up in bubble wrap so that they don't break. I would not put them in the hold. If you do put them in the hold, then clear them really carefully when you come out. Oh, no, definitely don't put it. He is saying to you, please don't put me through the hold. How heavy is he? Unmute.
You can unmute, yeah.
He's about 1 kilo. It's a mochaite.
Okay.
Yes, and I need to take my Lemurian with me.
So take a bigger
So
hand.
I'm afraid they take me away because they are like a weapon.
Take a bigger handbag. Oh, trust me, you don't even want to know what I've traveled with. I brought this one back from Greece in September last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So wrap them in a scarf,
Yes.
in a handbag, in a big handbag.
Yeah.
So that if they weigh your luggage, your hand luggage, they're never going to weigh your handbag. Sorry, Joe, you don't carry a handbag. They will never weigh your handbag. I have traveled all over. My handbag's never been weighed. And you just have it over you. And then when it goes through the X-ray machine, when you come out on the other side and they say, what is that? You say, it's a gift that I'm taking to the pyramids. And then when they look at it and they say, well, what is it? Say, it's crystals. It's this beautiful crystal energy.
Yes, I need to take all my 3 crystal skulls and the large Lemurian to store the energy.
They will travel well. Just before you leave home, manifest them already being where you're going.
Well, I get it. Okay.
I mean, I've traveled. I went to do an entire festival in Cape Town a couple of years ago, and I took all of my crystals from London. I mean, people thought I was absolutely nuts when I arrived, and I went. They didn't even open up my bag through the X-ray machine. And coming back, they didn't even open up my bag through the X-ray machine, and that weighed about 12 kilos. It was my hand luggage. Don't tell anybody. But I just asked the bag to just arrive in Cape Town, and it did with me.
Okay, so I will
Power of manifestation.
Okay, manifestation.
Thank
you very much.
So we're just going to finish now with just saying, Bonnie's put, wow, one of the best presentations ever. Definitely want to schedule a private reading. Thank you, Nici. And Jackie, you are a treasure. Oh, bless. Yeah, so that's a nice finish to the evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Nici, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I agree with what Bonnie's just said then. It was such a beautiful presentation.
Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. Lovely to have met you. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Everyone. Night.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.